Today on Sports Central, we'll be going over a college football game preview and prediction on a big matchup coming up in the American Athletic Conference in Week 11 of this 2020 season. That's going to be between SMU and Tulsa. This will probably be the game of the week in the conference, I would assume. You got two pretty good teams here going head-to-head, especially SMU being a team that is currently ranked. And they've been ranked pretty high this season, for that matter. So SMU is looking like a good team right now. And Tulsa is too. Tulsa hasn't played near as many games as SMU has, but still Tulsa is looking pretty good heading into this matchup. So it should make for a good game between both these teams, and we'll be going over a full preview and prediction on it here today, starting out with your team trends. Last game, SMU beat Temple, 47-23 was the final score there. Good win there for the Mustangs. Certainly Temple is not a very good team, so in the end that was a good win, but SMU still took advantage of that, and they won it by 24. As for Tulsa, they beat East Carolina 34-30. I think last week, and that was a good win as well there for Tulsa. Of course, East Carolina is kind of in the same position as Temple. Both those teams are not very good, but in the end, still a good win for both these teams. Winning streaks for both these teams. SMU is currently ranked 19th in the nation. They got a 7-1 record and a 2-game winning streak. Meanwhile, for Tulsa, they're 3-1 with a 3-game winning streak. So, of course, they lost their first game to Oklahoma State. But ever since then, Tulsa's been really good. And considering they even kept it as a close game to Oklahoma State, that is also very impressive. Oklahoma State right now is considered to be a top 10 team in the nation, and at one point this year they were top 6. And so for Oklahoma State, they're a good team, and for Tulsa to really hang around with them and possibly be an upset contender in that matchup, yeah, that was a good game played by Tulsa in the first game, and it really was not that bad of a loss at all. But both these teams are looking pretty good heading into this matchup. Once again, Tulsa has not lost in the American Athletic Conference quite yet. SMU does have a 2-game winning streak, though, after losing a couple of weeks back. But this game's going to be on Saturday, November 14th, 7 p.m. Eastern in Tulsa. So Tulsa will be your home team. Spread currently says Tulsa by 2.5. ESPN FPI's got Tulsa as well, 68%. Then the Vegas prediction disagrees here, going with SMU, 31-27 being the final score prediction out of Vegas right now. And these are bound to change as this is still being recorded early on in the week. But it's a little bit surprising seeing Tulsa being favored by 2 out of 3 of our sources here. Obviously, Tulsa is unranked in comparison to SMU, and they've also played a lot less games. But then again, I'd say both teams are still looking pretty good as far as the skill level goes. But here's your stat comparison for this game. Of course, SMU's got 40 points per game. They got 20 points allowed. They got 333 passers a game. So this passing offense for SMU has been great so far this season. They also got 193 rush yards on average. Then for yards allowed, they got 220 passing and then 189 rushing on average. For Tulsa, you got 29 points per game, 21 points allowed. You got 231 average pass yards, 169 average rush yards. Then for yards allowed, they got 246 passing and then 128 rushing. So for both these teams, of course, SMU does have more points per game. But I'd probably say, the rates for both these teams are pretty close. SMU's got 12 more points per game, but then again, Tulsa's got less points per game, but also less points allowed. So, I'd say both ratios are about the same there, but SMU definitely has had a better offense. They've been averaging many, many more yards than Tulsa has been so far. 333 yards of average passing is really good. So all around, though, both these teams have got their good areas, especially Tulsa's rush defense has been looking really good so far this season with only allowing 128 yards. For some key points for this one, of course, SMU has got more experience than Tulsa here. They have played more games than Tulsa has. Obviously, Tulsa's only played 4 games, while SMU's played 8. So you do have a bit of an advantage there possibly for SMU. But Tulsa's been off to a great start so far. No doubt about that one. Tulsa, once again, having a close game to Oklahoma State, then playing really well against their next 3 opponents so far, has been really impressive out of Tulsa. And I think this is going to be a great season for them. And it could be even better if they get a win here against SMU. But both teams I definitely think are big contenders in the American Athletic right now. We could easily see both these teams competing for that championship in the conference. Especially, don't sleep on Tulsa right now, especially if they can pull an upset here or pull the win here. That would be huge for this team. And SMU, we've seen SMU been great in the past couple of the years, but especially this year, I think SMU honestly is a better team this year than they were last year. They've been performing really well so far this season, which was a little bit of a surprise considering how much talent they lost after 2019. But still, SMU is really talented this season, and that's why I've got them getting the win here. I think it's going to be a close one, and it would not surprise me a single bit if Tulsa got the win here. That's why the probability here is only going to be 55% towards SMU. So I'm keeping it as low as I can. I would not, if you're a betting person, I would not bet on this game. SMU, I think, is going to get the win with a final score of 34-31. But Tulsa is going to be really close here. It would not surprise me to see Tulsa get the win. They're only a field goal or 2 away from getting a win here in this matchup. I just think SMU in the end has got more experience, they've got more talent, and I just think all around in the end, SMU is just a better team, and so I've got them winning this matchup. But once again, I'll keep saying this, Tulsa definitely has a good chance to win this game. They've also got a lot of talent, and they've performed really well against good teams. Once again, a perfect example of that will be against Oklahoma State when they kept it close to them. So don't forget about that. But then again, that wraps up my prediction on this video. I've got SMU winning this one, but do let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this one. Let me know your score predictions, all of that down below. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. But then again, thanks again for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. If you enjoyed this preview, slap a like on it, subscribe as well if you're not already yet. Yep, and once again, stay tuned for more. I'll see you all later.